Hello gamers, welcome back to the channel. I want to talk about a trend that's just going on in the gaming industry that I'm just starting to get a little bit annoyed by, and that is this whole trend of, hey, we're just going to keep remastering our games and re-releasing them over and over. Now, we have examples of this prior to this, especially when it comes to like Grand Theft Auto 5, like just being on every platform since what, the Xbox 360, Skyrim, pretty much the same. But when it comes to this generation of consoles, I'm talking about the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series console, we keep seeing this trend of games just getting re-released, especially on the PlayStation side. And this is very unlike PlayStation. They haven't really ever done this before. And this is sort of like the problem that I see going on with gaming today. Hey everyone, if you're finding me for the very first time, please do me a huge favor, smash that thumbs up button. It helps out a lot. Subscribe, that helps out even more. So I am a gamer. I've been gaming since I was about 5 or 6, so I've been gaming for about 30 something years, and I am a fan of gaming. I absolutely love gaming, and I have always been a fan of PlayStation, but recently I've kind of been squinting at them a little bit because I don't like some of their practices. Now, we've seen and heard about like the 9 to 10 cancellations of the live service games that PlayStation has greenlit and then canceled, and that could explain why the library, why the portfolio this generation seems a little lackluster compared to previous generations. But I feel like PlayStation, toward the end of the PS4 life cycle, really started losing their identity. They wanted to dip more into the live service aspect, and when doing that, they actually put other games on hold, other games that we want to see. We see Insomniac just focusing on like Spider-Man and Wolverine, and we see Guerrilla focusing on Horizon. Meanwhile, there's a plethora of different franchises, whether it be Resistance, Killzone, Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper, like the list goes on and on with some of these legendary franchises that PlayStation just kind of ignored. It's just like, yeah, it's not out. Yeah, we're doing something else. And that's kind of, it makes me sad as a gamer. We see Xbox now going third party. They're releasing their stuff all over. And for Xbox, my opinion, I think that makes a lot of sense because PlayStation is the default console. Even people that don't buy PlayStation games and they only play Call of Duty, Madden, and Fortnite, they buy PlayStation just because that is the popular thing to do. It's sort of like the Apple and the iPhone. A lot of people that have phones, they go to iPhones. Oh, did you get the new iPhone? Did you get the new Jordans? Like, you go with the default high quality product that people want. That's sort of what PlayStation has become now, is the default console. So when we see like Microsoft going multi-platform, that makes more sense because now they're working on software, and Microsoft was always a software company first anyway, so I think that makes a lot of sense. But when it comes to PlayStation, and we're getting these just remasters, and these aren't even remasters, I just want to really point that out because that's the part that bothers me the most, is that these games aren't really remasters. And I'm going to put up a post, this coming from, oh no, it's Alex, who I absolutely love. He's banging it out with content, and he has a side-by-side of the original with the remaster, and can anybody spot the difference? Like, I can see a little bit in the face right here, maybe 1 or 2 wrinkles, a little more contrast, but we're at the point of diminishing returns, which Alex says in his post, and that's sort of something that's been going on. We've seen this where they have like The Last of Us remastered, they have the Horizon Zero Dawn remastered, and these games aren't remastered. And not only that, the problem is that these games, for the most part, were PS4 games. These were all PS4 games that got PlayStation 4 Pro enhancements and also got those same enhancements on the PS5. So these games are all running at 60 frames per second with high rendering graphics and better resolution. These games already have that. So now for them to say, hey, we're doing another remaster of this game, like the fact that everybody just kind of made it a joke with The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 is like, oh, you're remastering a game that's not even that old. This game is already playable on the PS5 with the enhancements that you already had for the PS4 Pro and now the PS5, and now you're doing the same thing with Days Gone, and people are looking at it like, where's the actual games? And I'm not talking about like the third party games that Sony money hats, because we know Sony money hats those games. Games like Wukong, Black Myth Wukong. You know, people are like, well, you know, they didn't money hat it. Yes, they did. They got the timed exclusive for that. Because guess what? I don't buy that whole thing. It can't run on the Xbox Series S because I play Black Myth Wukong on my Steam Deck. So the whole Xbox Series S not having enough memory, that's hogwash. That doesn't make sense. But we see like Square Enix and all these other games. Stellar Blade was supposed to be on PC and Xbox Series X. Sony came in, swiped up the exclusivity. Hey, that's their prerogative. They have the right to do that. You have the money to dish it out, you can do that all you want. I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm not crying about it. But other than the games that are from third-party companies that Sony is money-hatting, they have no games coming out. And it's just really, really sad, the state of PlayStation. I think like it's kind of hypocrisy. It's being a hypocrite, and it's hypocrisy to sit there and criticize Microsoft back in 2019, 2020, and 2021, saying, oh, Microsoft has no games, Xbox has no games. But let's look at the games that PlayStation has released first-party in the past 2 years. I'm talking 2024, 2025. Really? What's the list? We have Ghost of Yote that we're hoping comes out this year. We had Astrobot last year. But other than that, like, what really was there? You know, other than remasters or third-party games coming out. And that's not just a PlayStation problem. That is this generation problem. It's one of the reasons why I have turned my Steam Deck into like a home console and just put it in like I have a dock in every single room. And then I just upload older games on my Steam Deck and I just play them and I have fun with it. Games that I missed out back on those platforms. I'm talking about the Xbox 360, PS3 platforms. Games like Castlevania Lords of Shadow. Like, I played that. Absolutely had a blast playing it. Vanquish. I played through that. Like, these are games I played through recently that I missed out during that generation of gaming because we were getting hit with so many releases. And it allows me to go back and play these games because there's no games out right now. Like, Microsoft is the only one releasing games. I'm about to go give Avowed a shot. I'm hoping I enjoy it. But really, there is no games coming out. Microsoft is really the only company, and look how many years it took for Microsoft to get the ball rolling. Like, how many acquisitions it took Microsoft to get the ball rolling. This isn't fanboyism. This isn't console warring. Both Xbox and Sony has issues. The problem is Xbox is finally starting to crack things out, but they're releasing it everywhere. Xbox has Indiana Jones, Avowed, Doom Dark Ages, South of Midnight, which I'm really looking forward to. Those games are all coming over to PlayStation as well, but if they weren't, what was PlayStation going to do this year? And that's the real problem. We just saw a state of play that wasn't very well received by people because Sony, they just dropped the ball this generation. They have no competition. Yes, they're selling 70 million consoles, but that's great. But what happens when you're not selling the software? You need to sell the software because that's where the money is, in the software. So if everybody who's buying a PlayStation 5 is just playing Madden and Fortnite, you're not getting the money from that software sales. And you need to start releasing more games and stop doing this 5 to 6 year dev cycle. The fact that we're waiting so long for the next Naughty Dog game is absolutely insane. But we live in an era now where we just see like these constant remasters that aren't even really remasters, and that's a huge problem within the gaming industry overall. This isn't just a PlayStation problem, this is a gaming problem. But now we see PlayStation sort of in that mindset. You know, it was one thing, and I'm not condoning this, but at least I can see the point of this, when Nintendo was porting all the Wii U games over to the Switch. Well, the Wii U didn't sell well. It bombed. It was a national bomb, a huge, big mistake from Nintendo. So they took some of their good IP from the Wii U and they ported it over to the Switch, and it sold better. It sold much, much better. But the PlayStation 4 already had a huge install base. The game sold great on the PS4. They're all playable on the PS5. So now they're just going to do what exactly? Like, what's the difference between this picture? It's the same thing with the PlayStation 5 Pro. You have people like trying to rip off their leg to get a PS5 Pro, and the performance just isn't there. It's running with the same CPU as the PS5, And then the graphics is slightly better if you have a magnifying glass that you can zoom in and see that the pixels are slightly more smooth and more sharpened, but it's running with the same CPU. And that's really about it. People are paying $700-800 to get the PS5 Pro for basically the same performance of the PlayStation 5 with slightly sharper visuals. This is a problem. This is what's anti-consumer about PlayStation right now. They stop focusing on the games and they're focusing on, I don't know what they're trying to focus on. I don't know if they're trying to be the next Apple or what, but they're really just kind of like trying to squeeze as much money as out of the fan base as they possibly can, and I feel like they're being very anti-consumer. I want to see PlayStation good again. I want to see PlayStation be humbled and come back strong with awesome games. They have so many great franchises in their library that they can revisit. If you want to remaster something, I'm all for that. Give me a Killzone trilogy remastered. Give me a Resistance trilogy remastered. Give me Jak and Daxter. Go back and remaster the original God of War games. There are so many games in your library that you can go back and remaster. To remaster something like Days Gone that is not even that old, that's already playable on the PS5 with enhancements, and then to slap the remaster title on there and it's not even a remaster. To me, that's absolutely ludicrous, everybody. That's absolutely ludicrous, and I can't believe that fans are okay with this. This generation of gaming has been a huge letdown. As someone who was an adopter, a day one adopter of the Xbox Series X and PS5, I've been extremely let down by this generation. It's one of the biggest reasons why I moved over to PC gaming, and it's one of the bigger reasons of why I went back to my old backlog and started playing some of these older games from 10 years ago, because these games today, it sucks. Most of them are just all about the graphics and the gameplay is absolutely boring. Or it's a walking, talking simulator. That's not why I play games. But that's just my thoughts on it, guys. I want to know what you guys think. Be sure to hit that like button. Helps out a lot. Subscribe. Helps out even more. Thank you guys so much for listening. Appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, as always, I'm Robert Storms, and thank you for watching.